Shri, one of the things that really stood out to me was I thought your all's approach to Atlassian on handling critics of Project Pascal and the result of the rollout was really really skillful. In that you sort of roped people in, not maybe roped people in is the wrong term, but you sort of involved people then afterwards to help turn their criticism into helping evolve it. Can you tell a little bit more about like what happened after the launch when people said, I don't like the way this looked?
Yep.
What did you do?
Yeah, there were some hard choices that we had to make. We eliminated a management layer level. We leveled it, the P and M roles slightly different from the company because that was the right thing to do. So there was actually some harder changes that we had to make as part of this. So there was lots of opinions. The thing that we did, and in general the thing, you need to be proactive, and it takes a lot of time to be able to explain because there are lots of nuances. Even in our discussion there's so many things that we could talk about, and it's easier to say the higher level abstract thing, but when you go next level down it's like, oh wow, you can't actually do this, but if you do this, that those are the three things that happen. So it's important to have the time and to be able to spend those, and these working groups and the people who are involved were amazing in terms of helping with that. So the working group actually helped us to be able to scale and explain the answers to the larger organization. And they've been champions in terms of updating to the next round and to be able to do this. That's why this open, transparent culture and having these working groups that can help us not just during forming of that, but also afterwards as a sustainable framework. I think it's important to think through and to have carve out time for them because that's an important thing as an organization. If people are first, we need to be able to spend time on people and to be able to improve and have that culture so that we can make those changes afterwards. So the rollout was not easy. It was actually lots of questions and opinions, and this happens in every organization. The thing is, after let's say 6 months, or you run it once in terms of performance cycle, like a year or 2 years from now, has it worked or not? And if you ask people at Atlassian after a few years, we are still improving, but it definitely has become the core pillar of everything else that we do. And if we hadn't done it, we would be doing these ad hoc programs and would be so hard to be able to coherently explain. And for new people coming in, it's been pretty amazing.
I can only imagine the complexity of an ad hoc program at the scale of 5 to 10,000 engineers, engineering leaders, and related people. I have this image in my head of somebody receives, the announcement of Project Pascal, and they're like, "Man, I don't quite agree with this leveling," and then they share that. And then the image I have is somebody reaching out to them, say, "Hey, you have some really good constructive feedback. Would you like to join this working group and get involved and help 2.0 of this or the next evolution?" Is that sort of what happened when somebody had feedback? Is that you involved them then in helping construct the next evolution?
Absolutely. So there, uh, people are not shy at Atlassian to give feedback, right? That's number one, which is good because that actually helps us to get better. Second is even the rollout. We brought the people managers into the mix first and explained it to them. We took a week or two to be able to explain it to them because it's important because they'll have to explain it to their people in terms of if they are changing levels or if you're moving to a different system. So the layered communication is extremely important in terms of to be able to bring more people in and to be able to tune it and adjust it. We found out in one of the communications that we hadn't really explained it well. So it took some polishing and to be able to get those FAQs to be built out as we rolled it out. The other thing that we also did was we did a video that explained. So you, especially in this remote world, it's important to have different mediums of communication, right? This audio, video, and text is extremely important. So we of course had all the documents, but we also did a video to be able to explain how things would work, and those all helped out. But we created Slack channels and we explained, we pulled in people who had strong feedback to be able to participate in the next rev of it. So all that absolutely helped out.
That's so great, and I think it's so in alignment with what you talked about at the beginning of like the development process. It shouldn't be a top down approach, but you should involve the more people you involve, the more buy in that comes in. And I think that's just a really skillful approach to developing
Yeah,
culture.
it
And
may be counterintuitive. It may be easier to say, "Oh, yeah, this is how we do things," and may seem efficient, but it's actually less efficient in the long term because people are not bought in. They're doing their own thing, or they leave, and you have higher attrition, which means you have to hire more people. So it just hurts in the longer term that you don't see immediately.